All right, we're here, and today we're going to go ahead and discuss asset protection. We're going to give you the information that you need to go ahead and take to your clients to actually isolate if your client has an asset protection need. And I'll tell you, in this day and age, many people have these needs that are unmet. We found in dealing with people that some people are horribly at risk and don't even know it. And with the use of a few simple asset protection planning techniques, they could go ahead and actually build a wall to separate them and protect them from creditors very, very easily. So, you know, we always hear asset protection as some big, expensive, complex, you know, change your whole life type of process. And while it can be that, normally just a couple simple things can give you peace of mind and give your clients peace of mind. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm here with Charlie Stahl, and I'm H.A. Compreto, and I'm going to give you a little of my background, and I'll go first, Charlie, and then I'll let you. And Charlie's much smarter than me. He's the CPA. I'm just the attorney in the bunch, so I'm the litigious one. I like going ahead and just, you know, charging forward. But I've been doing asset protection for now probably about 15, 17 years, and I got in it backwards. Most people will get into it and will say, well, I want to do that type of law. I got into it from the streets, and I hate to say from the gutters, but I actually was a bankruptcy attorney, and I had to keep people from losing their money. You know, if you're a 65-year-old person who's worked all his life and has 100 grand, and then all of a sudden you're faced with a horrible lawsuit for something or some bad business decision, that's all you got to live on. And they'd come to me and they'd say, AJ, save my life. Please save this 100 grand because I need it to live on. I don't work anymore, I'm retired. So I had to go in there and bang heads, go ahead and you know, wring necks, and do whatever it took under the law to go ahead and protect that money. Well, over time, people started seeing that, and then all of a sudden I started getting referrals from big firms, because big firms back in those days, they wouldn't do asset protection. It was dirty, and they wouldn't touch it. So a lot of the big silk stocking law firms that were sitting there, they'd say, well, this is a really good client, can you help them? We can't do it, but can you do it? And I would go in there and work with these people, and again, use the same techniques that I learned with helping people in bankruptcy, because that's the ultimate thing with asset protection. If you can survive someone really kind of trying to attack you, take all your money away, and what I call the 900-pound gorilla, federal government, when you're in a bankruptcy proceeding, they're the 900-pound gorilla. They're going to take everything. It's like the IRS. You keep the IRS, you keep the federal government away, everybody else, those are the small fry.
Boy, you know that.
So that's how we design our plans, and that's how I got into it. Like I said, I've been worked into it backwards, but now it's 17, 15 years, however long, and I'm getting really old in this respect later. And we're going to give you all that experience today so you can actually sit and talk with your clients. So let me let Charlie go ahead and give about his background.
Thanks, AJ. I appreciate all that. And, you know, I didn't know that about you. After all these years working together, I never knew that backstory. I, too, have a backstory that you may not know. I got into this backwards as well. I was working at a large investment firm and was the surprise victim of a frivolous lawsuit unrelated to the investment business. My then best friend's ex-wife sued me because he left the country and refused to pay her alimony. I go, where did that come from? Yeah. And my lawyer says, that's frivolous, that's ridiculous. But 2 years later, after many, many depositions and interrogatories and so forth, and almost $100,000 in costs, not to mention my time, and the important point was many, many sleepless nights worried that my assets that I had built up, I was about 32 at the time, my assets that I built up through that point were going to be lost, either through these attorney fees, sorry, it's good attorneys, but sometimes they're not.
I understand.
And either through attorney's fees or from, suppose some jury didn't like me in my white shirt and yellow tie back in those days, working in an investment firm, and here's this pregnant lady whose husband took off on her and decided that she needed hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of my assets. And I spent many sleepless nights worried about this, and once the situation was resolved, I took that energy and turned it into learning all there was to know about asset protection. And back in those days,
build your own walls.
Yeah, totally. This is totally selfish. And back in those days, this was a dirty business. This was, you know, it's quasi and so forth. You can do this and you can do that, but don't tell anybody about this or that. And I read every book and went to every seminar. I traveled around the world and talked to all the experts and made phone calls and paid legal fees to try and get this advice and that advice, and finally started becoming my own little expert in this, and that was 1987. So, a long time ago. And
you're getting old too.
I'm getting old too. I am.
Okay.
As opposed to you. But and being in the financial planning business myself, here I am. I had developed this body of knowledge strictly for my own benefit, and now go to my clients who are doctors or lawyers or have particular risks, and they're completely exposed. And their attorneys are not willing to help them because of the stigma related to this type of planning and business, or just the lack of knowledge that was out there. And so I would write letters to the attorneys, and I would try and move things along, and ended up writing a book a few years later, and another book on the subject. And I guess now, after all these time and travel and so forth, I guess I'm an expert. So at least we've done a lot more.
You're a CPA also.
I'm a CPA,
and you've got all these designations. See, as an attorney, we just get an ESQ. You got all these other designations out there, CFMOB and things like that. So you really have the actual knowledge, training to back up. Plus the hard world knocks. You know, School of Hard Knocks.
This is not I don't think there's an actual course in this. There is no one body of knowledge you can tap into this, because a lot of what we're going to talk about this today, I hope, because it's so exciting for me. This is where my energy comes from. That one of the beautiful things about this is not just, okay, what's the statute say? What does the law say where your assets are saved? That's great. We can always do that. But many times that conflicts with other goals of financial planning. I mean, do we want to give all our money to our kids? Do we want to give all our money to our wife, who could become a horrible thing? Ex-wife. I've been there too. Not as an ex-wife, as an ex-husband. That's an expensive process. And do we want to put our assets in a position where we become a target of the IRS or federal government? We need to manage all these areas at the same time to come up with the perfect mix and the perfect risk pattern for our clients and for ourselves, so that we can sleep at night. None of this keeps lawsuits away. People can still sue you for anything they want. This is America. This is how it works. What this does is allow, when that happens, you get to sleep at night. Knowing you've done everything you can under the law and with planning and forethought to both protect yourselves against not just the lawsuits, but also the estate taxes and the income taxes. We have other financial planners in the room today, and you've done everything you can to protect yourself, and now it's time to sleep at night, and you may have to fight a battle or two as life goes on. I hope you don't, but on we go, and we've done everything we can. And that's what this is all about.
You hit a big thing, and this is for both of everybody in the room. It's managing balance.